Welcome, welcome. God bless everyone. This is Minister Hagar, Prophetess Hagar, and I am coming to you this afternoon with a coronavirus update. I want to get you guys caught up with the developments of the virus, and I also want to share some prophetic insight with you guys. So, if you've been watching my video, you know that I have made the claim and prophetically tied this whole outbreak situation into being combined with the release of 5G technology over in China to first weaken and deplete the immune systems of the people, that made them more susceptible to the virus. So when the virus hit, it was combined with an attack on the immune system from 5G technology. And also the 5G technology, the type that China has, the full-blown 5G technology, it has a lot of radiation in it. So it's almost kind of like, pelting the people with a mini radiation weapon or radiation device, attacking them with that first. And then also once the virus came along, it mixed and with that was kind of like a deadly cocktail of the two combined together. During my videos where I shared that, I was unable to pull up the articles that showed the proof that China had just deployed their 5G technology and expanded it across all of China and all their major cities, including Wuhan, Beijing, and all of the cities that the coronavirus first spread and started from, and kind of super bloomed and multiplied very quickly. I thought that I had the article pulled up in my video, but as you guys remember, I didn't have it. And so I want to just first start off this video with sharing with you guys the article headlines backing up my claims that I made. And as you know, when I first prophesied this event several years ago, 5G was mentioned inside of the prophecy as being involved in the situation. And lo and behold, proving the word of the Lord true, once again for the millionth time, now we have evidence that 5G was directly correlated as far as the time frame of the outbreak. And even we're having reports that people, they're not just behaving, people that are sick over there, if you watch some of the videos, they're not just behaving like they have a regular virus or a respiratory disease. If you notice, a lot of people are starting to say these people look like a mini nuke or some sort of radioactive or radiation has been released on them. That's how they're behaving. So just to go through these headlines really quickly, because I got a lot to jump into. It says 5G is where China, oh no, sorry. My apologies. I meant to start up here. So this is starting from the end of last year. Okay. Just in case you don't know, if you do the research, between November and December, the end of the year, is actually when the coronavirus, the first couple of patients, began to get sick. They didn't report that. China didn't report that. They kind of kept it quiet and hidden. And we didn't hear about it till around, January. But if you watch the news clips, they admit that it actually started back around the end of December or November. So here's a headline from December, the end of December, saying China expects 5G coverage to reach all prefecture level cities, meaning they're going online. You know what I mean? Like full-fledged, full force. They're launching the full platform and system of 5G across all their major cities, not just a little bit here and a little bit there, or a tower over here and a tower over there. They want to go online across the entire nation of China. Here we go with this headline from BBC, November 1st, 2019. China rolls out one of the world's largest 5G networks. So they are the pioneers, the forerunners, to be one of the first on planet Earth to launch this massive 5G network across their entire nation, to deploy it. And lo and behold, directly at the same time and right after that is when the virus hit, as I explained in my other videos. So here we go from October 31st saying China's 5G rollout is actually ahead of schedule. So this is kind of announcing, yeah, we're about to go online any day now. We're going to be setting it up sooner than we thought. They're ahead of schedule. And they did end up deploying it, I believe, right around the end of the new year. So now that I have shared that with you guys and kind of gave you some facts to validate my claims, we're going to move on. Speaking of the new year, remember how I was telling you guys that the prophecy for coronavirus was broken up into puzzle pieces on my old ministry and my channel? And here we have all the little signs that eventually, once the prophecy was unsealed to my understanding, I was able to decode all of these different videos and puzzle pieces. And when I put them together, it spelled out every single detail about the coronavirus update. Here we have, once again, like I told you guys a year ago, had a video on the new year, and we all know that the virus happened during the Chinese New Year. I shared with you about the new moon. This was the Chinese New Moon Festival, which is the new year. That's when the virus occurred. I've already went into this video where it was talking about war, where I explained in this video I was covering the precursors to the war between China and the United States, and that is kind of also what led and fed into them trying to develop a biowarfare weapon to attack us. But there's a couple of other details that I didn't notice that were also here prophetically. In the same video where I'm breaking down the details about the war between China and America, where I'm prophesying that eventually they're going to try and attack us, if you notice in the title, I'm also talking about a barley harvest. And even up here, I have a video right around the same time frame talking about the harvest. The new year, the harvest, barley harvest. Okay, why is that significant? Well, let me go over here and show you. If you go to Google, you will also learn that the Chinese New Year is their spring festival. Okay, I didn't know that. It took the Holy Spirit to draw my attention to it for me to realize that that Chinese New Year, or the Lunar New Year that they celebrated, the holiday, which was during the beginning of the peak outbreak, when it finally went live, public for the world, and where the cases really began to spread and explode across all the major cities, where things really got frantic and they start having to shut the cities down. And you had foreigners who traveled over there for the holiday began to be trapped over there. All of this occurred right in the Chinese New Year, which was the Lunar New Year, which also happens to be their version of a spring festival. Why am I mentioning that? Well, encoded in these prophecies, okay, it's also telling us the time frame, not just that it would be during the Chinese New Year, not just that it would be during the new moon and the new moon lunar event, new moon, but that will also be during their spring festival. If you see here, I mentioned barley and harvest. Now, at the time, I thought that I was speaking of the Israeli spring festival. As you see here, I have it labeled barley harvest, which is a Jewish spring festival and time of year and holiday. But when I typed in what season is the barley harvest, the holiday for, as you can clearly see, and many of you probably already know, that the barley harvest for Israel is their spring festival. Okay? Spring barley, the harvest. And right here I have videos. This is all pointing towards the time frame of the harvest. And you can see the wheat harvest, the barley harvest, which is, so that was basically a spiritual symbol. Even though the Israeli version of the season and holiday was being used, it was really expressing and meant to interpret as during the spring festival, which China's version of that would have been the new year. So see how it all comes around full circle, guys. And I just really wanted to share that with you guys when I found out about it, because I thought it was extremely compelling. Now let's also go down to another detail that I hadn't really fully touched on before. I touched on the blood moons. My other videos would be man-made and it would progress very rapidly. But one part I never really got into yet, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, was I have a video mentioning the CDC. Okay, a prophetic warning about the CDC. So I was sitting here waiting. I said, well, Lord, you also mentioned the CDC in my prophecies. And so I really been waiting for some news to break regarding the coronavirus and the CDC. So, lo and behold, things have finally began to pop up regarding the CDC. Let's take a look at this video right here. And I'm not going to play the full news story because I don't want to get any copyright infringements. But let's just kind of look in their description box. This is a mainstream, mainline Chinese news station. Okay. And don't you just love how they keep putting under every video labeled coronavirus? Get your information from the World Health Organization, WHO. They want to make sure that we run to them for the quote-unquote truth in all our information, and that we only believe, WHO's narrative, that we don't intake any other information. Guys, they even have this under some of my videos on it. Everything labeled corona, you will also see this notice under the video saying, oh no, come click here and let us tell you the official narrative. Don't listen to any other sources, or don't think with your brain. Don't listen to prophecy. Don't add up 2 + 2 obviously equals 4. Only believe what we have to say about what's going on. I just thought that was really interesting. So if we go in the description box of this news story right here, which was just released February 16th, 2020. One second, let me find it. Where is okay, here it is. Excuse me if the camera filming is pretty shaky. I'm just holding my cell phone. But so let's look at this. So now even physicians and doctors, not conspiracy theories, but over there, Chinese physicians and doctors and scientists who are over there with the disease, treating the disease and studying the disease, they're going public now, okay, and starting to give information to the press, okay? And what they're coming forth as saying is that right here, new speculation from Chinese scientists believe that it originated at a research facility, the disease, not far from Wuhan fish market. We already debunked that lie. I already have a video, and I already prophesied that it never came from the market. And I already prophesied that it really came it was bioengineered and man-made, okay? And I already have a video where several people admit that on live TV now. That's been debunked, that it didn't come from the market. Now we have Chinese scientists saying they believe it originated from a research facility, okay? And they're saying they're doing all these weird, freaky experiments and developing all these diseases and things. So I want to show you this interesting part that ties into the CDC. If I can find it, let me see. One second, guys, bear with me, because I know it's in here somewhere. I really should have looked at this before I started recording, I guess, but you know, just go with it. Just bear with me for a second. Okay. Now, if you go down, and I'll try to leave the link to this video so you guys can just watch it and read it yourself, but if you go down further into what the news story, the article is about, it's also saying these news outlets are reporting from other Chinese scientists and doctors that the Wuhan, follow me where my finger is, Center for Disease Control, or the WHCDC. So this would be their version of our CDC, our government official Center for Disease Control. The Wuhan CDC could have spawned, which means created or began or released or been responsible for or created the contagion in Hubei province, according to reports, okay, by these two separate universities that deal with technology and lab research. Okay, so, there is our CDC connection, guys. Remember in my prophetic warning, I said I also, one of the puzzle pieces, Oh, okay. One of the puzzle pieces was warning disturbing CDC developments, that the CDC was going to be involved. And I waited and waited for that part of the puzzle to come into play, and now it has. You have their own universities, doctors, and scientists saying they believe that the CDC in China had something to do with it. Now, I have another update regarding, excuse me, just have a little cold issues I'm trying to clear up, but I have another update from our American CDC. If I can find it here, let's see, where was that? Oh, okay. I know where it is. One second. I don't want to show all these different people's accounts in my video. They may not necessarily want to be in the video, but just bear with me. Just a couple of truthers hanging out on a Saturday evening. Let's see. Okay, here's the story. Now we have our American CDC involved because, did you guys know that the city of, who is it? This is Los Angeles. Oh, Costa Mesa in California. Okay, that they were about to get 50 coronavirus patients sent to their city without their knowledge, guys. And the local government in Costa Mesa says, you guys can't bring those people here because their facilities in Costa Mesa are not equipped to properly take care of them and quarantine them and keep the disease from spreading into the rest of Costa Mesa. They're saying their healthcare facilities are not prepared for that kind of illness, so therefore you guys can't bring it here. And so this was kept from the public. The public didn't know about it. The local government didn't even find out about it until a couple of days before the people were going to arrive. Thank God they found out, because they had to go to court and put a restraining order in against the CDC and the federal government to say, don't bring those people here because we can't properly care for them. So guys, while you were going to work, drinking your Starbucks, at home, snugly, safe in bed, there was a plot by the CDC and whoever was making these bad decisions, the Department of Health and Human Services, CDC, and I guess the military. They were all going to be transporting these sick, positively tested, contagious people to your city in California without anyone knowing about it into a facility that can't properly manage the disease. This is all happening under our noses every day. Okay? So once again, there's my other CDC link that the CDC was going to have some, as I titled it in the prophecy, disturbing developments. And they're going to be involved in a disturbing way. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And it never fails. The word of the Lord just never fails. Each and everything he says is true. Each and every detail, every single thing that he says is going to happen, every single thing that he exposes always comes to pass exactly as he says it. Okay? Excuse me, I'm just trying to get that glare out of you guys, out of the camera view. Okay, so let's move on because I got a lot more to get to. Let's back this up. Now, something else very interesting. This story is just saying, I'll go to that really quickly since it's short. This is from NBC News. They're saying desperate search for cruise passengers after American tests positive for corona. So here we have February 18th, 2020, mainstream media admitting that Americans that are on board all of these foreign and Asian cruise ships that are catching the virus, they're escaping off of the boat. Even after they test positive, they aren't staying in quarantine. They're just escaping off of the ship and just going off into the country, trying to make it home. Who knows where they are and where they're going. That's why they're saying it's a desperate search, because they're no longer able to keep up and keep track with all of the different people that are contaminating and coming into contact with each other. Not all of them are being quarantined. And so now they're racing around trying to track down all the passengers that came into contact with that person, but it's too late. Everybody's off the ship, gone, doing their own thing, returning to their home countries to go spread it some more across the world. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Now, this one was a true bombshell. True bombshell. Let's go inside and take a look. DW News, mainstream outlets, saying that February 22nd, 2020, saying new coronavirus cases show no link to China whatsoever. Meaning, we have people now popping up across the world, Europe, Italy, in other countries and nations that are popping up with the virus, and the virus is spreading, and it traces back to nothing to do with China at all. They didn't go to China. They haven't been around anyone who has been to China. No one from China has returned to these cities and places where the outbreaks are happening, so it has no connection to China at all. So the plot is thickening. Why is that important? Well, if you travel over to my Instagram, going back to the prophecy of what I released all the way back in June of last summer, in my prophecy, in very explicit detail, it says that the official narrative was a lie and likely meant that it was either airborne or occurring independently in several different places. The truth was scary. I also have up here a feeling of dread and horror, like a scary movie crept in as I looked and noticed, because those people never actually came into direct contact with each other. So I'm saying that had to mean that it was occurring independently in different places. And this is back from June 2019, where I gave those details. Okay? And now it's being admitted and released that we're starting to have new cases pop up all over the place that have nothing to do with China. So this is getting very serious, because not only do we have the threat coming out of China, but now it's spreading independently, just like the prophecy said. Which means, just as the prophecy said, it's either airborne or occurring independently in several different places, meaning someone has to be releasing or bringing the virus to these different locations and releasing it. Excuse me. In order for people to begin to catch it that have no interaction or ties or links to China whatsoever. This is another part of the warning where I've given in my prophecy. Okay? Now let's go back to this prophecy and see another aspect of it that was just confirmed in mainstream media. Or see this part where I also say it has to mean that it was either airborne. The Lord is giving us the truth way ahead of time. These details spell out for us how bad the situation really gets. If you see here, I described it as dread and horror. The Lord is going to give us the truth, and they're going to give us lies. Doesn't the Bible say, let God, basically God tells the truth and let every other man be a liar? God is not a man that he should lie. Oh, I have the verses right here. Let God be true, but every man a liar. Meaning he's the only one that's going to really tell us the truth about what's going on. They're going to lie to us as long as they can until it gets out. Then they have no choice but to admit the truth. So I'm making the claim that also there's an airborne aspect to it. And lo and behold, February 19th, 2020, Chinese authorities, health authorities, admit coronavirus 19 can be transmitted through aerosol. What does aerosol mean? Google it. It means through the air. In other words, it's a version or type of airborne. It's in the air, and we all know that airborne is the worst type of virus transmission that there is, because once it's in the air, it can spread across the whole earth so easily and quickly. At first they tried to lie and say, oh no, this is not airborne. They even try to tell us that about Ebola. Oh no, definitely not. Don't worry, guys, it's not. If it's not airborne, why are you guys out with airplanes and helicopters and trucks spraying and disinfecting the air where there's no people outside? Apparently, it's airborne if you're spraying the air and there's no people outside. Apparently, it can live outside of the human body for days if you guys are still spraying. So, once again, the Lord exposes the true nature behind this, and I'm proving to you guys this is mainstream China news. In the video, there's even a conference of all the Chinese officials, health officials, right in your face admitting, oh, well, now we do see evidence that it is spread through aerosol or through the air, meaning our droplets, excuse me, when we sneeze, cough, whatever, from the human body gets into the air is carried. Okay? I know the visuals are not that great in these videos right now. Okay, let's move on. What else did I want to share with you guys? Now, I'm going to close out the video with this. Wait, there's a few more stories that I didn't get to. Okay, did you guys also know that there was 300 Americans that tested positive for corona, and they were allowed on a plane? And the people